Returning now to our extended election coverage, the LNP has been warning Queenslanders that they risk the possibility of chaos if they vote for the minor parties and allocate preferences. And both Campbell Newman and Anastasia Palaszczuk have vowed not to do deals if there's a hung parliament. Matt Wordsworth hosted the Katter Party's Ray Hopper, the Palmer United Party's Jeremy Davey and Charles Warringham from the Greens on the ABC's election set.
Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us today. Can you tell me, you're not the major parties, you're the minors. What can you offer that's different, Charles Warringham?
Well, the Queensland Greens have been really the innovators in this campaign, and that's really what we're about, the future of Queensland. And sadly lacking from the major parties this time has been any real picture of where Queensland's going to be going tomorrow. We want to build the true renewable energy economy, the clean economy of the future with the new jobs and the new opportunities that that will bring. And everyone knows that we're about the environment, but we believe there should never be a competition between a sound economy, future jobs and the environment. And our innovation policy, our renewable energy target and all of the other policies we brought to this campaign can take us there.
Jeremy Davey, Palmer United, quite different though. No carbon tax, for instance. You're quite polar opposites to the Greens.
That's right, mate, yes. Look, it's a easy answer to that question is we want to rid the arrogance out of the Queensland government.
And what kind of headline policies are you offering the people of Queensland to convince them to vote for you?
Well, I think what you'll see with Palmer United Party members elected into the next Queensland Parliament is consultative members of Parliament. They'll talk to people, they'll listen to the professionals, they'll listen to the legal fraternity, they'll listen to the Queensland Nurses Union, to the AMA. We're not experts on everything, and to be better educated we need to consult, and we're fully aware of that.
OK, Ray Hopper, Katter's Australia Party, what can you offer the people of Queensland?
Look, thanks, Matt. We already have this in place. It's a thing called QRA. It's run by the Queensland Government. We're going to roll that into a state bank where small business and rural producers can borrow money at very low interest. That will rebuild this economy beyond belief. It'll create employment and it will rebuild the bush. It will be a not-for-profit, government-owned bank, but we have to get the balance of power to do that. The Katter Party's not going to win a seat. The Greens aren't going to win a seat. It's
you mean the
Palmer Party, I'm sorry. The Palmer Party's not going to win a seat. There's no doubt about that. The Greens won't win a seat. The Katter Party will probably win 4 or 5 seats at least. And we will hold the balance of power tomorrow night, and they will come begging, and we will have a few things that we'll be talking about policies on. And
so that's not negotiable for you? That's not negotiable, that policy you just mentioned there?
Absolutely. That is a not negotiable policy, the same as a mandate on fuel of 10% ethanol.
Now, this is a prospect that the LNP even is putting out there. Maybe it's a political ploy or not. A hung parliament, is that what the three of you are hoping the best result could be for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way we'll get our power. If 4 or 5 of us are holding the power in Queensland,
is it realistic? Charles Warringham, for instance, do you think that's a realistic scenario?
Oh, look, who knows? We've got a very clear job in front of us, and that is to get our first elected member of the Queensland Parliament. And if we can succeed in that, our job is absolutely clear. It is to be an honest broker. We will work across party lines wherever we can. But my goodness, we will be a strong watchdog and look out for the interests of the people of Queensland, whoever forms government.
The Greens in Queensland seem to have plateaued in the seats where it gets a showing, like Mount Cootha, 20%, 22%. That's it. In Victoria in November, they got 2 seats. New South Wales, they've got a seat. Have they underperformed in Queensland?
I don't believe so. If you look at the last Victoria election, there were surprises there. Nobody expected that the Greens would pick up a seat from the Liberals in that state. I predict some surprises tomorrow night.
Jeremy Davey, Palmer United Party, it was successful at the federal election, got senators, got your leader into the lower house, but since then you've lost all of your MPs in the state parliament. Is Palmer finished as a force? No,
I don't think so. And look, really, when we're going for elected members, this is our first foray into Queensland politics, and the results will speak for themselves, and the party will go away after that and make changes if we need to. So I need to firstly disagree with Ray. I think you will see putt representation come into the next Queensland Parliament. But agreeing with Ray, I think that you will see a hung parliament. I think that's very likely. Internal polling is telling us that, and that's a very real possibility come Sunday morning in Queensland.
Which seats are you predicting to pick up?
Look, obviously I'd love to say Kawana because that's where I'm running. I think we're very strong in Callide, the feedback coming from Callide, but also at the north of the state we're getting some unexpected but really positive feedback from the north, so around Townsville and even Cairns.
Do you other two guys think that Palmer United is going to pick up a seat?
No.
No, absolutely
Callide?
not. Palmer Party's finished. They're just seen as a joke in Queensland. The Katter Party in Queensland have been solid as a rock. We haven't lost a member. We won every sitting of Parliament the first half of this term. Why was the avalanche charged against us? We are the threat to the LNP in Queensland. There is no doubt about that. That's why we've only stood in 11 seats. We're putting all our resources into those seats, and we are more or less the old country party. So we've targeted rural Queensland, seats that we can win and seats that we will win, Matt.
More or less, the old country party is just about it. And may I just say that the Queensland Greens would disagree with both the gentlemen to my right, because basically the time of parties with people's names in them is basically over. And the Greens have been in 22 years in Queensland. We will be here in the next 22 years fighting for the same issues.
And what, you don't think those two parties will be?
No, I don't.
Well, I'd have to disagree with you too when we talk about the Greens. I mean, when you go out and you look at Greens preferences at the moment, the Greens are primarily preferencing the ALP. Now, I'd just like to take you to values, Greens values. So a big one federally was Manus Island. A Labor government reopened Manus Island. We see here, Lock the Gate Alliance and the Greens are heavily, protesting against CSG. We've come out along with the Greens with the strongest policies to act against CSG. So my question and my comment would be, I suppose, why do the Greens continue to preference the ALP?
Well, first of all, our record on CSG is second to no other party, and I would also point out that we're a very democratic party, and decisions made on preferences always rest with the members of local branches. They have the last say. It is not the case that, in fact, in every seat in this election, that the Labor Party is being preferenced second by us. There are a number of open tickets, and that's a matter for the local branches to decide.
And Ray, you are not just dirty on the Greens and not a bit of left-right here, but you're kind of dirty on the Palmer United Party as well, aren't you?
Oh, I'm very dirty on the Palmer United Party.
You thought you had a deal in Nanango, didn't you?
I can't say we had a deal, but we'd very spoken of it on many occasions. John Bjelke-Petersen, when he put his name up for Callide, we had a very good candidate in Callide. I said to our president, under no circumstances will we stand against Palmer in Callide. Their state leader's standing. We would have expected the same, and in the last minute, they stand someone in Nanango. So, the Palmer Party, what do they stand for goodness sake?
What, you thought they stabbed you in the back?
Call it what you like, but common sense, Clive may as well just give the LNP a donation if that Palmer candidate in Nanango does pretty well, because he's just going to take votes off me. And that's the only danger I face, because I was a shoo-in until that happened.
Jeremy Davey, where is Clive Palmer? He was so visible during the federal campaign. Where is he?
He's here, he's back, and he's ready to hit the ground running.
He doesn't seem to have done much. Does that give any indication that he's not confident?
No, I think it gives an indication that he was allowing John to run this. This is John's show, this is John's party. He's our state leader, and he's been touring the state and making those policy announcements. So Clive's our federal leader. The federal parliament starts up again on the 9th of February, so he's extremely busy and he's concentrating on that.
Charles Warringham, one of the big seats we're watching on Saturday night is Ashgrove.
Yes.
How do you think Greens' preferences will affect that result?
Well, they have a very good chance of being decisive. I think we've seen in the recent poll a surge in Green support, and I'm not surprised. It's happening all over the place. We're getting reports from all over that that's exactly what's happening. So, yes, we will play a very significant role in Ashgrove, I'm quite sure.
And now you guys are not just in Parliament, Ray Hopper, but obviously close observers of politics. If Campbell Newman is not successful, who do you think the LNP will go for?
Look, I say to you, Matt, a vote for the LNP is a vote for Jeff Senior as Premier. I've worked with Jeff for 5 terms. I know Jeff as well as any man. He will not be able to help this opportunity. He will use his bullying tactics on all those backbenchers, threaten them that they'll never get ahead, never get a ministry, and he'll put the fear of God in them, and they'll be too scared to vote for anyone else. So just watch Jeff Senior.
Yeah, but who's the bigger dog in that fight? Because Bruce McIver, the president of the LNP, might have his own ideas.
Oh, Bruce McIver's turned Liberal, mate, and that's as simple as that. There's no National Party there anymore, and, I haven't got much time for Bruce McIver in the slightest.
Charles Warringham, back to you. Daylight saving is a policy you rolled out in this last week. What's the purpose there? Because both major parties have ruled it out, and it seems to be a very divisive issue in regional Queensland. You're obviously just banking on a southeast Queensland popular vote
I wouldn't
here.
say that at all.
Populist.
It's now. There are people born at the time of the last referendum who are trying to do business with the southern states. The amount of interstate commerce is much higher than it was. The problems are even exacerbated. There are people in your two electorates, I'm absolutely sure, who are battling that time difference unnecessarily. But the really new element this time round, the reason that why we are now proposing this is because we now have several 100,000 homes and businesses contributing solar power to the grid. If we go with daylight savings and trial it for 2 years and follow it with a referendum, we will be able to find out if in fact we can clip the peak demand, which will be has moved now from the middle part of the day to the early evening. Now solar will still be generating at that time, so there are absolutely new reasons why this is the right time to look at this.
Ray Hopper, just back to the Katter Australia Party, you've got two quite safe seats, perhaps, Mount Isa, Dalrymple, with Rob Katter and Shane Knuth. Are you confident that they will hold?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. They're two very hard-working members. Robbie and Shane will hold their seat, there's no doubt. No doubt.
OK, and what are the other seats? You said 4 or 5?
Oh, look.
What are the other 2 or 3?
Nanango, Condamine, we're doing extremely well in Burdekin.
So you and your son?
My word. My word. He's a good boy too. We're doing extremely well in Burdekin, so that's fine. Gympie, don't underestimate Shane Polger, and I think Lockyer will have a fight on his hand with Pauline splitting the vote.
Now, all three of you are not benefiting from the Just Vote One strategy from the LNP. What do you think of that strategy? This chaos, the ads about a hung parliament, it would cause chaos. What do you feel about that?
Well, the ads are lies,
mate. Utterly misleading. It's making comparisons with the above-the-line voting system in the federal Senate, quite explicitly, which has no bearing upon the voting system of Queensland. Voters can be absolutely confident that if they number their boxes 1, 2, 3, however many boxes they wish to number, that and that alone is what will happen, and that gives them the maximum power of their vote. So I say vote Greens first, and then number as many of the other boxes as you wish.
Jeremy Davey, you were keen to jump in there?
Yeah, look, the advertising campaign's a lie that the LNP have put out, and I'm sure Ray will agree with me on that. They're saying Palmer United has done a deal with Labor. That is absolutely not the case.
See, they legislated last year, Matt, to get more money per vote, and they made it retrospective. So they got a massive cheque, over millions, right? That they are cashed up. They are cashed up, so they can afford their polling. Now they've done their polling, and their polling's telling them that the Katter Party's coming, and they're in serious trouble. That's why they've got to do what they do with their billboards, and so it's going to be chaos, because they know by their polling, and their polling's pretty good, that there will be a hung parliament.
And just before we go, I want to know, you say you know Jeff Senior because you've worked with him for 5 terms. The LNP leadership has said they will not deal with the minor parties if there's a hung parliament and they need their support. Do you believe that? OK, let's say about 10 o'clock on election night, if they realise they need our support, my phone will be running red hot. All right, gentlemen, we'll have to wait and see until 10 o'clock tomorrow night, I suppose. But thank you very much for joining us, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Matt.